War was the struggle between nationalist forces attempting to unify the country of Vietnam under a communist government and the United States, with the help of South Vietnamese attempting to prevent the spread of communism. At the beginning of the war, Canada was a member of the International Control Commission and wanted to maintain a neutral status in the war. Canada tried to mediate between the warring countries while still aiming for a conclusion that could allow the U.S. to leave the conflict honorably. At the same time, Canada also publicly criticized American war methods, which obviously didn't sit too well with the American government. Regardless of all of this, Canadian industries continued to export useful military supplies and raw materials such as ammunition, napalm, and Agent Orange to the U.S. during the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, the trade between the two countries continued on unhindered. Lester B. Pearson, who was Prime Minister of Canada during this time, said that the trades with Canada's southern ally was necessary and logical due to the strong economic bond that they shared. As the war raged on, the relationship between Canada and the United States began to deteriorate. Pearson traveled to Temple University in the U.S. to give a speech which was strongly in support of a pause in the bombing of North Vietnam. Throughout this entire event, Pearson still stayed true to his goal of international peace, with every one of his actions indirectly leading in this direction. President Lyndon B. Johnson met with Pearson. Johnson apparently grabbed Pearson, who was a considerably smaller man, by the lapels and shook him while yelling about the comments Pearson had previously made about the war. After this incident, it would seem that the relationship between these two leaders would have been difficult to repair. However, the two men somehow found ways to resolve their differences over the war. Both continued to have further contact, which included meeting together in Canada 2 times afterward. The changes that resulted from the war were significant, especially considering the fact that Canada was never directly involved. After the war, Canada became far more independent and nationalistic. We were more willing to oppose the United States and move in different directions, socially and politically, all thanks to Lester B. Pearson. Pearson always had strong morals and beliefs, which he kept true to regardless of the situation he was dealing with. One opinion Pearson shared with many people around the world was with regards to the topic of war. We know now that in modern warfare, fought on any considerable scale, there can be no possible economic gain for any side. Win or lose, there is nothing but waste and destruction. Lester B. Pearson. Pearson felt there was no way that a war could possibly end positively. Throughout the course of the Vietnam War, Pearson never lost sight of this. His main goal was always to avoid as much destruction as possible and maintain peace. Any hurdle that was put in front of him was overcome without tarnishing his morals, which allowed him to stay true to himself and his beliefs.